Hello, I'm Maria Hall-Brown, and this is LA Currents. Well, in May of 2025, our guest today made history by becoming the first Asian American to lead the commissioners for the Board of Public Works. I'm delighted to be joined by Stephen Kang. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for being here. I'm delighted to join you today.
For someone who's not familiar, the Board of Public Works impacts a swath of the city. What are some of the areas that the commission actually has oversight on?
Sure, we're a 5-member body, all appointed by the mayor with confirmation by the city council. What makes us so unique is that we're all full-time. We're the only full-time commission body in the city. We meet 3 times a week, similar to city council, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we hold over 150 public meetings. And the role of the board is really to provide that oversight, transparency, public accountability, and that governance to 5 of the most critical infrastructure core building blocks of our city. So we oversee the Bureau of Sanitation, lights, streets, contracts, and engineering that basically works on pretty much all the public right-of-ways, from your streets, to your sidewalks, to your trees, to your sewers, to new construction projects, and then leading up to the Olympics as well. Right now, we're in sort of that growing pains phase where you're seeing a lot of construction in different parts of town, but you're not seeing those headlines and you're not seeing sort of the final ribbon cutting projects that are coming to life. But what I tell them is that our city has been working on this for many years before, because a lot of the infrastructure projects are not just city standalone, but it is a partnership with Metro, with Caltrans, with all the other government entities that help manage the city of Los Angeles. So for example, there's a brand new Purple Line that's been an underground metro project that is a partnership with the city, that connecting from the Wilton Theater in Koreatown, Wilshire, and Western to UCLA. So with stops, once that's open way in before the Olympics, that's an 18-minute one-way. Those things are going to be opening up. I know the people mover system at LAX, there's going to be other underground construction projects, and also many of the sidewalks and the trees and the streets are now being prepped for the games ahead of time. Most recently, along with the City Council, the Mayor, the Board of Public Works also approved the construction contract for the LA Convention Center expansion and modernization project. So that is a very robust project that will expand the size of the convention center. We felt that the urgency of the moment in terms of revitalizing downtown LA to where it needs to be could not wait another 3 years, because, you know, a lot of these public infrastructure projects take many years to develop and complete, and we didn't want to wait until after the Olympics to get started on this project. And also, you know, time is money, and every day that we wait, you know, construction costs will rise even further. And I know there are concerns about the budget and cost overruns. So yes, there has been some delays, unfortunately, because of the fires and recently the ice raids. Those things are not helping to move projects along. But I have hope that, you know, and I have firm belief that when we have a firm deadline, and we do have a firm deadline because we can't push back the Olympics. So our staff and our construction partners and our labor partners are well aware of that timeline. We can get it done on time.
I have to ask you about the 105 freeway.
Sure, that is a Caltrans and a Metro joint project, although because it impacts our city's right-of-way, it is a partnership. It is led by Caltrans because freeways are within the jurisdiction of the state of California under Caltrans. However, because it runs within the city of Los Angeles, it is a partnership. So 105 freeway project is what we're essentially doing. We've already started the phase 1 earlier of 2025, is to convert sort of the carpool lanes into the fast track lanes. So 2 lanes of fast track on each side of the freeway. And that should be completed within 3 years in advance of the Olympics to ensure that we have drivers and people moving from point A to point B for the Olympic Games.
In terms of all the things that make a city run, in particular in Los Angeles, the film industry has become kind of one of those conversation cornerstones a lot. And you now, from the mayor's office, have the position of oversight in that regard too. Are you a film buff, and what's going on with what's happening in filming in LA?
I think I was chosen for this role not because I'm a Hollywood expert per se, but I'm a, problem solver. I know how the city works. I know which levers to press to get things done. And the film industry have had some struggles over the years. Of course, the pandemic, and you've seen headlines about production leaving California for financial reasons, right? So it might be cheaper to film in other states or other countries. So what my job is, and why I, as president of the board, is tasked with this responsibility, is that we're very much intertwined. My job is to lure production back into Los Angeles by streamlining many of its old archaic processes and making our city a friendly, open for business in terms of production. So we now have a detailed list of landmarks, popular neighborhoods, streets that are very much in demand by our filming industry, whether it's major blockbuster films or their TV shows. But one of the other areas that I'm working on is that even if this particular location is a very desirable location for Hollywood, sometimes the neighbors are not as receptive to the things that are associated with production coming into their street. So I'm also working with our neighborhood council leaders, our city council partners, and our mayor's team to really kind of set that tone, set that expectation, and explain to our residents what are some of the benefits. Yes, some of the street parking might be taken up by production crews for a limited number of days, but that really translates to thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to the local economy that benefits everybody. Recently, Sacramento passed a very historic film tax credit. It builds upon what Mayor Bass helped pass in Sacramento when she was in the state legislature. So that is helping to bring some of that production back. But what I'm focused on is really taking an equity lens into the film permitting process, where different permits incur different levels of cost. So we're looking at ways to, if not only just major blockbuster, but small, low impact filming also happens in Los Angeles quite frequently. And why don't we lower the barrier in terms of the threshold so that we don't charge you the same amount of money for a major blockbuster film versus a student run or a nonprofit film. So we're looking at a tiered pricing model to implement here in LA so that we welcome all different sizes of production back. So we contract out our permitting services right now with an entity called Film LA, which is a nonprofit. And yes, they were recently awarded a 5-year extension with the city of LA. They serve as sort of that one-stop shop. Yes, there are issues related to the filming process, and we're having some extensive dialogue with Film LA to make some major amendments to that, including tiered pricing. But that's your go-to first entry. And then if there are issues, people can contact me directly. But to give you an example here, we're inside City Hall in downtown Los Angeles. City Hall is the People's Building, and it is free to film. That doesn't mean all of your costs get covered, but at least to reserve this building, there is no added cost, right? However, the security, janitorial, things will add up. But this is a very desirable landmark that people have shot, courtrooms in, or different types of law enforcement productions and others.
Well, there's so much happening in this, and we barely scratched the surface of everything that the Board of Public Works does. So if somebody wants to learn about what current priorities are or what's happening in the city or plans for the Olympics, what's the best way for them to find out?
Sure, you can go to our main website, which is DPW, Department of Public Works, .lacity.gov. You'll find pictures of all the 5 commissioners, including myself, and what we do, our background, our assignments, and also links to all of our social media pages so that you'll get the latest information about, Shine LA, other mayoral priorities, other priorities that we're working on, and then updates related to the convention center and so much more.